Hi, Larry, WD0AKX. I recently acquired a vintage CB from a friend of mine who needed to scale back his collection a little bit. He was moving, and so he gave me this vintage CB. So Warren, if you're watching, thank you very much for that. This is a Lafayette HE20C, and I don't really expect it's going to function as normal by any means. It's probably been sitting many years, and I have the feeling I'll probably just use it as a display radio. But we're going to take a look at it here and see what functions and what doesn't. We'll take a look inside. The HE20C was a solidly made radio made in the USA in the early to mid 1960s, sold for about $110. It could be powered off 120 volts or 12 volts. It had a tunable receiver overall, 23 channels at the time. It had 8 crystal slots for transmit and receive, so you could also use crystal control, and it came with channel 9 crystals, the emergency channel. Now, since it hasn't been powered up in a long time, I'm going to bring the power up slowly to it with my variable power supply here, AC power supply, isolated power supply also. And we'll just bring it up slowly and monitor the current draw and make sure there's no direct shorts in the radio. And this will be easier on the capacitors too that are probably dried out over the years. And I'm hearing some audio from the speaker, some background noise, so it looks like it is powering up here. Now, I don't have it hooked up to an antenna here right now, so I don't expect to hear any signals. A lot of the controls are kind of dirty, that's normal. Just trying to work them in a little bit here. They can be cleaned also. I've got my spot control on in the upper right there. That should allow me to hear any of my crystals here that are installed, transmit crystals, so I know where I'm at on the dial. I'm only hearing one crystal that's showing up right now, so it could have a batch of bad crystals. They do go bad over time, or it could be the control is very dirty also. This is the access panel on top of the radio to access the crystals. And looking inside, it looks like it is filled up with crystals here in every channel. So trying the transmit, I'm trying to key the mic here and nothing's happening. Thinking there could be a problem with the mic or the connector or the cable here. Nothing happens anyhow. The squelch control is working normally. However, my S meter and RF meter is stuck at full deflection, it appears. I'll talk on this portable CB, see if I can tune myself in on this radio. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Channel 14, 1, 2. The dial is off quite a ways there on the tuning. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm on channel 14. I should actually be hearing it somewhere around this area. So the tuner is way off frequency, looks like. Could be due to the bad caps or alignment needed. We'll take a look inside now. And looks pretty clean inside, I would say. There's the crystal banks and power transformer, the tuning, variable tuning, capacitor, filter capacitors. And it does use a vibrator for 12 volts, so you can use it on 12 volts, vibrator in the power supply. Got some caps here, look like filter caps. I don't know what this is. It doesn't look original, really. I'm not sure if it is or not. It looks like it may be a mod that was done at one point. That's a modulation transformer, I believe, that it's mounted to. And that capacitor doesn't show up here on the diagram on the bottom of the radio, so I'm guessing that's some kind of mod that was done at one point. And it shows the serial number 97065 here on this model. However, there's another sticker that shows a different serial number here. So I'm not sure what the deal is there. And there's another sticker on the back of the radio showing that first serial number. So let's take a look on the bottom side. Now this looks very clean. There's a lot of capacitors in here that would need to be replaced though. It would be dried up over the years or bad or going bad, so that would have to be done. I think there's about a dozen or so, so that would take some time and expense with the capacitors. There's a lot of components here need to be kind of checked out, a lot of resistors. And this is the rear side of the radio. Let's take a quick look at the microphone here. The plastic has become kind of fragile, so where the screws screw in the back, those tabs inside have broken loose, which is kind of common. It could be glued again, I guess, but it's kind of fragile. And I did check the push-to-talk circuit in the mic here and tested the cable, and that is working. The switch is working, so the switching problem, why the radio isn't going into transmit mode, seems to be internal to the radio. So I've mainly come to the conclusion that I'm just gonna put it on the shelf as a display radio only for now. It may come up as a project later on, but it's going to have to be recapped. All the capacitors are going to have to be replaced, and several of the crystals aren't working, and I haven't checked the tubes yet either. So to put that money into something like this that I'll probably never use on the air anyhow, it would only have a few channels at best to transmit on, so it would probably just sit on the shelf anyhow. So, like I say, I could come back to it at a later time, but for now that's what I plan on doing. It's a nice looking radio. I'll clean it up and park it on the shelf next to my other vintage radios so others can take a look at these radios. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy it. And 7-3. So we're just going to take a look at it here. We'll take a look inside and we'll see what functions and what doesn't function. And let's start this over.